The hillside breathes heat even as the sun starts to slide. Dry grass scratches your ankles when you shift your weight. Dust clings to your sandals like it wants to travel home with you. The air tastes like sweat, wool, and the faint metallic tang of coins, because somewhere close a man's fingers keep worrying a small stack. Counting and recounting like numbers can calm the heart. Children weave between knees, laughing and coughing, little hands smudged with dirt. A Pharisee stands a few paces away, tassels flicking at his calves as he adjusts his robe. His chin lifts, not to worship, but to measure. He watches mouths. He watches reactions. He watches Jesus. And you watch too, because something in you feels cornered. Not by a soldier, not by Rome, but by truth. You come up this hill hungry for a clean start, and you can barely admit it to yourself. The year feels heavy. The failures feel near. The patterns feel like chains that clink softly in your chest when you breathe. You tell yourself you are fine. You tell yourself you are not like certain people. But the moment you hear that Rabbi is teaching again, you come anyway, like a thirsty man walking toward a sound that might be water. Jesus climbs like he belongs to mountains. He does not hurry like a man afraid to lose a crowd. He moves with the calm of someone who does not borrow authority from anyone. He sits, and the simple act feels like a throne appearing in dust. The sky behind him widens, pale gold at the edges, and for a heartbeat the old stories throb in the air: Sinai, smoke, thunder, a holy God, and a trembling people. Only now there is no black cloud. There is no lightning. There is just this man, sunlight on his cheek, wind tugging at his hair, and a silence rolling through the crowd like a wave. Your stomach tightens, because you want him to speak comfort, and you fear he will speak your name. You want him to bless you, and you fear he will expose you. You want him to say, God sees your effort, but deep down you know your effort is often a costume. You know the hidden room in you where motives rot quietly. You know the words you swallow and the words you spit. You know the private glance, the private fantasy, the private grudge that feels like a warm coal in your pocket. Painful, but you keep it anyway. The Pharisee near you clears his throat softly. A few men straighten their backs like students ready to earn praise. Someone behind you whispers, "Listen carefully." And Jesus opens his mouth. Blessed are the poor in spirit. His voice carries without strain, like the wind carries seed. Not loud, not begging, certain. The words land soft and sharp at the same time. Poor in spirit. You feel the phrase scrape your pride. You glance around. These are not the winners. These are fishermen with cracked hands. These are women with tired eyes. These are men who smell like fields. These are people who run out of pretending. Blessed are those who mourn. You see a mother's jaw tremble as if grief lives in her bones. You wonder, is mourning blessed? How can tears be anything but loss? Blessed are the meek, not the men who shove to the front, not the ones who shout the loudest. Meek. You feel a strange relief, like someone finally names what you cannot perform. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Hunger. Thirst. Your mouth goes dry as if your body understands before your mind. You came hungry. You came thirsty. You came hoping righteousness is something you can buy with effort. Blessed are the merciful, the pure in heart, the peacemakers, those who are persecuted. The list keeps moving, and it does not sound like the world's ladder. It sounds like God turns the ladder upside down, and the Pharisees' face tightens, because Jesus keeps blessing the kind of people the religious crowd often steps over. Then Jesus looks across the faces like he searches for a pulse. His eyes move, and you feel them brush your skin as if your thoughts become visible. You are the salt of the earth, he says, and you taste salt in your memory, fish, sweat, tears. Salt that preserves. Salt that stings a wound. You are the light of the world. You imagine lamps in windows at night, small flames refusing the dark. And then he adds, let your light shine before others, so they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven. Father. The word lands like a stone dropped into a well. It echoes, Father. Not distant, not negotiated. Father. A man near the front mutters, so is he discarding Moses? Another whispers back, no, listen. You feel your own question rise. Is this a new law? Is this a new mountain? Is this man building a rival Sinai? Jesus answers the question before it fully forms on your tongue. Do not think that I come to abolish the law or the prophets, he says. I do not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. Fulfill, not erase, not weaken. Fill full, like a cup brimming so much it cannot pretend to be empty. The Pharisee's fingers relax slightly, as if he hopes this will be safe like rules written in neat lines. But then Jesus' next words cut the hope in half. Unless your righteousness exceeds that of the scribes and Pharisees, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. You hear air sucking around you. Exceeds? The scribes know every letter. The Pharisees count every seed of spice. They wash hands like surgeons. They argue over the thickness of a thread on a garment. If righteousness must exceed that, what chance do you have? Your heart begins to beat in your throat. And now Jesus turns the blade inward. He does not let anyone hide behind the surface. He speaks like a physician who presses directly on the bruise. You hear that it is said to those of old, "You shall not murder." Your shoulders loosen for a moment. You have not killed. You have not driven a knife into flesh. You have not poured blood onto dirt. You are safe. But Jesus does not stop where you want him to stop. But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. Liable. Judgment. The word lands heavy. You feel anger flare in your memory, your tone at home, sharp as flint. The way your jaw locks when someone disrespects you. The way you rehearse arguments alone like you are sharpening a weapon. You feel your defenses rise like a wall. I did not kill. I am not like them. Then he speaks of insults, raka, and the contempt behind them. He speaks of calling someone a fool with that cold pleasure of shrinking another soul. And you know that pleasure. You know that secret satisfaction when you win. Jesus' gaze sweeps again, and he gives a picture so simple it feels like it happens in front of you. If you are offering your gift at the altar, he says, and there remember that your brother has something against you, you see it. A man stands with an offering in his hands, maybe a lamb, maybe a handful of coins. He is steps from worship. His palms sweat around the gift. And suddenly memory hits him. A fractured relationship, a harsh word, a debt unpaid, a face turned away. The gift grows heavy like stone. Jesus says, leave your gift there. First be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift. First, before worship, before performance, before the public holy moment. Reconcile. You swallow. Is there a brother you avoid? A sister you punish with silence? A friend you keep at arm's length because pride tastes sweeter than peace? Your mind supplies a face, and it stings like salt in a cut. Jesus presses on. He speaks of making peace quickly with an accuser, of not letting bitterness drag you into a prison of your own making. You feel the metaphor in your ribs, anger as a cell, the bars made of your own justifications. Then he speaks again. You hear that it is said, you shall not commit adultery. Your defenses rise again, quick and eager. You have not done that. You have not crossed that line. You have not shattered a covenant. You are safe. But Jesus' voice does not soften. But I say to you that everyone who looks at a woman to lust after her already commits adultery with her in his heart. Heart. There it is. That hidden room again. Lust is not just a glance. It is theft. It is taking a person made in God's image and shrinking them into an object to feed your hunger. You feel shame creep up the back of your neck like heat. You want to look down, but the ground is not safe either because the dust seems to witness. Jesus speaks of eyes and hands, of cutting off what causes you to sin, not because God enjoys pain, but because sin kills. His words do not sound like performance. They sound like rescue from a fire. A man near you shifts, uncomfortable. A woman clutches her shawl tighter. Someone coughs, dry and forced. You hear a sheep bleat somewhere, and the sound is strangely lonely. Jesus moves to divorce, and you feel the tenderness and the severity together. He treats covenant like something holy, not disposable. He treats people like something precious, not replaceable. The crowd listens, restless, because the words step into marriages, into homes, into beds, into the private pain that smiles in public. Then Jesus speaks of oaths. You hear that it is said, you shall not swear falsely. He names the habit of stacking promises on top of promises because simple truth is not trusted. Let what you say be simply yes or no, he says. Your face warms. How many times do you add extra words to make yourself believable? How many times do you exaggerate so you look good? How many times do you hide behind careful language so you cannot be held? He keeps going. You hear that it is said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. The crowd shifts at that, because vengeance feels like justice when you are the wounded one. But Jesus says, do not resist the one who is evil. And he paints pictures that feel impossible. A slap on the cheek, a cloak taken, a mile demanded by a soldier's authority. He tells you to turn the other cheek, to give more than demanded, to go the second mile. Your mind protests. Does he want us weak? Does he want us trampled? But his eyes do not look weak. They look like a storm held in peace. He speaks as if the kingdom of God is not fragile, as if love is not a doormat, but a weapon that shatters cycles of hate. And then Jesus reaches for the highest shelf, the one your hands cannot touch. You hear that it is said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Love, enemies. The two words do not want to share the same breath. You feel the crowd tense. Someone mutters under his breath. A man's eyes flash with old grudges and Roman cruelty. Jesus speaks of the Father making his sun rise on the evil and the good, sending rain on the just and the unjust. You feel the warmth of the lowering sun on your own skin, and you realize you receive it without earning it. You taste the dust, and you remember rain washing dust into little rivers. You receive that too. Then Jesus says, you therefore must be perfect, as your heavenly Father is perfect. Perfect. The word lands like thunder without sound. You feel the impossible weight. Not perfect like a polished pot. Perfect like whole. Complete. Undivided. A heart without cracks where darkness hides. You sit there with the crowd, and something in you whispers, then I am lost. Because you can keep rules with your hands while your heart stays crooked. You can avoid adultery with your body while your eyes roam like thieves. You can refuse murder while your anger sharpens itself nightly. You can say prayers while your mind calculates applause. You can perform holiness while you starve for approval like a hungry dog at a table. And now Jesus stands at the doorway of that inner room you never let anyone enter. Outside religion can be performed, but what do you do when the law walks into your heart? The wind shifts. Somewhere, a dove beats its wings. Just wings, nothing dramatic. Yet the sound feels like a whisper of heaven's nearness. Jesus continues, and his tone changes. Not softer, clearer, like he moves from diagnosis to cure. Beware of practicing your righteousness before other people in order to be seen by them, he says. Seen. There it is. The addiction, the ache, the silent hunger that drives 1,000 little performances. He speaks of giving. You imagine the temple court, coins clinking, eyes turning. He says, do not trumpet your generosity. Do not make charity into theater. Let your left hand not know what your right hand is doing. You picture your own hands, rough and dusty, and you wonder, can my heart give without needing to be admired? He speaks of prayer. You see men standing where they can be noticed, words swelling like smoke. Jesus says, do not be like them. Go into your room and shut the door and pray to your Father who is in secret. Shut the door. The phrase feels like relief, like stepping out of a crowded marketplace into shade. And then he says it like clean water after years of salt. Your Father knows what you need before you ask him. Knows. Before. Ask. Your throat tightens. Because you live like you must explain yourself into acceptance. You live like you must earn attention. But Jesus speaks of a Father who already knows. He teaches you to pray. Not like a spell. Not like a performance. Like a child speaking to a father with calloused hands and steady eyes. Our Father in heaven. Our. Not just mine, ours. You are not alone. You are not the only one trembling on this hillside. Hallowed be your name. Not my reputation. His name. His weight. His beauty. Your kingdom come. Your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Kingdom. Not a stage. Not applause. Not a ladder. A reign. A rule. A life where God's will becomes as natural as breathing. You picture heaven, whatever it looks like, full of obedience that is not forced, full of joy that is not faked. And you realize your heart is not like that. Yet. Give us this day our daily bread. Daily. Not barns bursting. Not panic. Bread. Enough. You feel your own fear about tomorrow, the way it bites like a rat in the dark. You feel how you stockpile, how you clutch, how you count coins because you do not trust the unseen hand of God. And Jesus puts bread in the prayer, simple and real, like God cares about stomachs and children and ordinary days. And forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. Forgive. Debts. The words scrape against your grudge. You feel the coal in your pocket again. He does not let you hold forgiveness in one hand and vengeance in the other. He does not let you ask mercy while you refuse to give it. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Deliver. You feel the honesty of it. You are not strong enough to carry temptation alone. You are not safe by sheer willpower. You need rescue. You need deliverance like a man needs air when water closes over his head. Jesus speaks of fasting too. Not a sad face. Not a show. Quiet hunger offered to God. You imagine a man washing his face, oiling his hair, walking through the street like any other day, while inside he is praying with his stomach, seeking God with his emptiness. It feels strangely beautiful. Then Jesus' words move toward treasure, and you feel the crowd lean in because everyone understands treasure. You feel the metallic tang of coins again in the air. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, he says, where moth and rust destroy, where thieves break in and steal. He speaks of moths chewing through fabric in the dark, of rust eating metal slowly like a quiet sickness, of thieves slipping through windows at night like shadows with hands. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven. Your mind tries to picture it. Treasure that cannot rot, wealth that cannot be stolen, a bank no thief can touch, a reward no empire can tax. Then he says, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Heart follows treasure like a dog follows meat. You feel exposed again. Where does your heart run when no one watches? Where does it curl up at night? He speaks of the eye being the lamp of the body. If your eye is healthy, your whole body fills with light. If your eye is bad, darkness spreads. You feel the truth of it. What you stare at shapes you. What you crave becomes you. And then Jesus says, no one can serve two masters. Two masters. You feel the tug of war inside yourself. God on one side, mammon on the other. The Father's voice and the world's hunger. You imagine trying to hold two ropes pulling opposite directions until your hands bleed. Jesus does not pretend it works. He says you will love one and hate the other, cling to one and despise the other. Then he turns to worry, and you feel as if he watches your nights. Do not be anxious about your life, he says, about what you will eat, what you will drink, what you will wear. You feel anxiety like a familiar visitor, sitting at your table, tapping its fingers while you try to sleep. Jesus points without pointing. He speaks of birds, and your ears catch the sound of wings again, little creatures darting through the air. They do not sow or reap or gather into barns, yet the Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they? He asks. Value. The word hits somewhere tender. Do you believe you are valued, or do you believe you are tolerated? He speaks of lilies too, and you imagine wildflowers on the slope, small bursts of color in dusty earth, clothed with a beauty no human hand stitches. Solomon, in all his glory, does not outshine them. You feel the sun touching your face again, and you wonder if God dresses flowers that die in a day, will he not clothe you? He names the problem, O you of little faith, not as an insult, but as a mirror. Worry is often a faith-starving. You feel it. You worry because you cannot see tomorrow, and you try to become your own provider, your own protector, your own savior. And then Jesus gives a sentence that stands like a doorway. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Seek first, not seek after you try everything else. Not seek as a hobby. First, kingdom, righteousness, and suddenly the mountain air feels thinner, like you breathe a different atmosphere. He speaks of tomorrow having enough trouble of its own. You almost laugh, because trouble always finds you. But he is not naive. He is commanding your heart to stop living in a future you cannot control. Then he turns to judgment, how you look at others. Judge not, that you be not judged. You feel your inner courtroom, the way you cross-examine people in your mind. the way you condemn to feel clean. Jesus speaks of the measure you use coming back to you, and it feels like your own words turning around like a blade. He paints a picture that makes the crowd murmur, someone with a plank in his eye trying to pick a speck out of someone else's eye. You can almost see it, ridiculous and painful. And you realize how easy it is to be blind to your own sin while you become a surgeon for everyone else's. Jesus speaks of asking, seeking, knocking. Ask, and it is given. Seek, and you find. Knock, and it opens. The verbs feel alive, like God invites pursuit. He does not say, earn. He says, ask. And he anchors it again in fatherhood. If you, being evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good things to those who ask him? How much more? The phrase sounds like a promise wrapped in warmth. He gives the golden rule, do to others what you want them to do to you. It sounds simple until you imagine living it when you are tired, when you are offended, when you are unseen. Then Jesus' voice narrows, like he brings the crowd to a point. Enter by the narrow gate. Narrow gate. You picture a wide road with ease, noise, crowds, laughter, and the feeling of never needing to change. And you picture a narrow gate that requires you to turn sideways, to drop your baggage, to leave your pride outside. He says the gate is narrow and the way is hard that leads to life, and those who find it are few. Few. The word makes the crowd uneasy, because everyone wants the kingdom, but few want the way that kills the old self. He warns about false prophets, wolves in sheep clothing. You imagine soft while hiding teeth. You imagine religious words dripping honey while hearts hunt for profit. He says you recognize them by their fruits. Grapes do not come from thorn bushes. Figs do not come from thistles. You can smell fruit when it is ripe. You can taste when it is rotten. Then Jesus says something that makes your skin prickle. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven. Saying the right words is not the same as knowing him. Doing mighty works is not the same as loving God. He speaks of a day when people protest, did we not prophesy, cast out demons, do many mighty works? And he answers, I never know you. Depart from me. Never know you. The phrase tastes like ash, because it is possible to be near holy things and still be a stranger to holiness. It is possible to use God's name like a tool and never belong to him as a child. The crowd sits stunned. The Pharisees' jaw clenches. A poor man's eyes shine with fear and hope mixed together. And you feel the question pounding in you. Do I know him? Or do I only know religion? Jesus ends with a picture that feels like weather rolling in. Everyone then who hears these words of mine and does them, he says, will be like a wise man who builds his house on the rock. You see it like a story unfolding right there on the hillside. A man chooses rock. It is hard. It takes time. His hands blister when he chips away. He sweats. He measures. He lays foundation where it holds. And the rain falls, Jesus says, and you feel cool drops in your imagination, smell wet earth rising. And the floods come, and you hear roaring water. And the winds blow and beat on that house. And you hear wood groan, feel the shudder in your bones. But the house does not fall, because it is founded on rock. Then Jesus speaks of the other man. He hears the same words. He nods. He likes the sound. But he builds on sand, easy ground, quick results, no sweat, no deep digging. The house looks fine in sunshine. It looks like everyone else's. And the rain falls, Jesus says again, and now it feels like warning. And the floods come, and the winds blow and beat against that house. And you hear it, crack, collapse, the sickening rush as walls fold and beams snap. The house falls, and great is the fall of it. Great. Not small. Not manageable. Great. Silence spreads. Even the children hush as if the air itself listens. The crowd looks at Jesus like they see a new kind of authority, one that does not argue citations, one that does not hide behind teachers. When he finishes, it feels like standing after an earthquake, checking if the ground still holds. You sit there, and something in you trembles. Because Jesus does not merely give new rules. He exposes what the old rules always demand, an undivided heart. He does not cancel God's commands. He rescues them from becoming props. He drags them out of the marketplace of applause and brings them into the secret place where God sees. And you realize the mountain does not exist to crush you. It exists to show you the truth about you, and then to show you the kindness of God. Because while Jesus' words feel like fire, his presence feels like light, light that reveals, yes, but also light that guides your feet out of darkness. You come up the hill hoping for a clean start. You come up thinking the problem is outside you, Rome, enemies, other people, bad luck, a hard year. But Jesus speaks, and the problem steps into view. The war in the heart, the split loyalties, the hidden hunger for approval, the anger that tastes like power, the lust that tastes like escape, the worry that tastes like control. And yet, in the middle of that exposure, he keeps saying, Father. He keeps opening the secret door. He keeps offering daily bread. He keeps offering forgiveness. He keeps offering deliverance. He keeps offering a kingdom that is not built on your performance, but on God's reign. The hillside begins to cool as the sun lowers. Shadows lengthen across faces. Someone lights a small lamp, and the flame flickers, cupped by a hand. You smell smoke and oil. The crowd begins to move in slow waves, people murmuring, people staring at their feet, people whispering to spouses, people holding children closer than before. The Pharisee turns away stiffly, like a man refusing to be undone. A fisherman wipes his eyes with the back of his hand, pretending it is sweat. You stand slowly, and your legs feel weak. You can still hear Jesus' words like a heartbeat. Narrow gate, secret Father, reconcile, forgive, seek first, build on rock. You walk down the hill with everyone else, but it feels like you walk out of a courtroom and out of a hospital at the same time, sentenced and treated, exposed and invited. Now the scene shifts, and the air changes. You step into your living room, where the smell is leftover food and tired fabric and maybe the clean bite of winter air coming through a crack in the window. A calendar waits to flip. A clock ticks like it is counting your life in small bites. Somewhere, people plan to swear up and down they become someone new at midnight. You know that feeling, the countdown, the vow, the fragile hope. You know the way resolutions glitter for a moment, like a spark, then fade when the first storm hits. You know the way you promise, never again, and then a week later you find the same old anger in your mouth, the same old lust in your eyes, the same old worry in your chest, the same old hunger for approval driving your choices. Jesus meets you there, not with a checklist, but with a kingdom. He does not stand in your doorway like a disappointed supervisor. He stands like a king who is also a savior, telling you the truth so you can live. Because you can keep the rules and still be ruled by anger. You can look faithful and still starve for applause. You can say the right prayers and still live for treasure that rusts. You can build a beautiful house on sand and call it success until the rain begins. So Jesus' mountain becomes your mirror, and the mirror does not exist to mock you. It exists to move you. It exists to bring you to the narrow gate, where pride drops its bags, where self-salvation dies, where you stop negotiating and start surrendering. The spiritual verdict is this: the king's words expose the heart, and the Father's gaze in secret is where true life begins. And the mirror is this: you are not watching strangers on a hillside, you are standing there. Your anger is there. Your lust is there. Your worry is there. Your performance is there. And the storm that reveals foundations still comes: stress, loss, temptation, offense, sickness, money trouble, loneliness, pressure that squeezes what is inside you until it shows. But the invitation is this: you do not walk into this kingdom by pretending you are strong. You walk in by becoming poor in spirit, by admitting need, by mourning what sin does, by hungering and thirsting for righteousness like it is oxygen. And when you come to Jesus, you do not come to earn the Father. You come because the Son brings you to the Father. So tonight, right where you sit, do not just promise to change. Step through the narrow gate. Speak to Him like the prayer He gives you, not as a performance, but as surrender. Father, your kingdom, daily bread, forgive me, deliver me. If there is a name that rises in your mind when Jesus says, be reconciled, do not choke it down. Hold it before God. Ask for the courage to go make it right. If there is a grudge you keep warm like a coal, do not carry it into another year. Put it down at the feet of Jesus. If there is a secret sin you protect, do not decorate it. Bring it into the light of the Father who sees in secret and heals in secret. Build on rock, not by striving for applause, but by obeying from belonging. Because you are seen by the Father. You are fed by the Father. You are not your own judge. You are not your own provider. You are not your own deliverer. And if you feel the weight of "be perfect," hear it through the mouth of the King, who does not only command, he redeems. He does not only reveal the standard, he gives a new heart. He does not only show the mountain, he becomes the way. Pray with me now, not like a script, but like a soul coming home. Father in heaven, your name is holy. Your kingdom is what I need. I confess I cannot fix my own heart. I lay down my performances. I bring you my anger, my lust, my fear, my pride. Give me daily bread, enough grace for today. Forgive my debts, and teach me to forgive those who owe me. Lead me away from temptation. Deliver me from evil. I come through Jesus, your Son, my King. Make me whole. Make me light. Make me salt. Build my life on rock. And when you rise from this prayer, rise as a child, not as a slave. Walk out and reconcile. Forgive. Give quietly. Pray honestly. Seek first the kingdom. And when the storm comes, and it comes, let it find you founded on Jesus Christ, the rock that does not move.